Hey guys, Brian Eastridge from EDC Belt Company and Eastridge Training and Consulting. I'm up here in the Caliber Club at Wilshire Gun Club, and this is my Beretta Elite LTT. So my name's Brian Eastridge. I got invited up here to the Caliber Club here at Wilshire Gun Club to kind of go over my Beretta and what's the reasons that I carry it and the reasons that I'm a big Beretta fan, big fan of a traditional double action gun. So I spent 4 years in the military. From 98 to 02, I served in the 82nd Airborne Division, and that was my first exposure to the Beretta in the M9. And back then, the military really didn't focus on pistol skills. So being the student of the gun, I decided to start competing and looking into competition shooting to get a little additional training. And I met the guys from the Beretta Elite team. Back then it was Todd Lewis Green, Ernest Langdon, and Dave Harrington. And got to shoot a lot of matches with those guys and really see the performance aspect of the Beretta 92 and how great it really was. And much like the 1911 back in that era, I'm sure most of the guys that were in the service then kind of custom, and after a period of time they grew into the 2011s and all the great custom pistols that we have. So this is just kind of an evolution of the Beretta 92 and the M9 service pistol. So on this particular one, I got this one from Langdon Tactical last year. These have been in production about a year. And when I found out they were coming out, it was kind of the Beretta that everybody wanted. It had the Vertex slide. So it's got a standard weight Beretta slide that has an interchangeable or a dovetailed front sight. So you can put a fiber optic or a night sight or whatever. You have a lot more options than the older fixed front sight guns. It came with the newer G model conversion kit standard, so you can switch this back to a safety if you need to. But for this, it functions as a decocker only. It comes stock with LTT grips that are made by VZ. They're G10 grip. They're really nice, high checkering, gives you a lot of real estate, and they're a lot thinner than the old standard Beretta grips that I grew up on. So it's checkered front and rear back strap. And one of the modifications that I do to almost every one of my handguns, this gun ships with a set of Allen key grip screws. And one of the first things that I always do is change them out for some stainless slotted grip screws, because I always manage to lose the right size Allen key. So I did that. I've got a Wilson Combat mag guide. Replaces the mainspring plug here, and it's just something to get your mags going into the mag well a little quicker. The mag well on these guns is beveled, so your reloads tend to be a little faster. So one of the things I did to this gun was I had the trigger work done by LTT. It's real similar to the trigger job in a bag. So one of the things I've done to this gun other than the mag well was I had Ernest do the trigger work on the gun at Langdon Tactical, and when the gun came to me, I installed a factory unmodified sear spring, and that gives me a little more weight on the single action, and I like the single action to be a little heavier, 4.5 pounds, so I got a lot of really good feedback. The double action when this gun came to me was right at 6.5 pounds on the dot, and it has a 13-pound hammer spring, so I get really good reliable ignition on the double action and the single action. So I haven't had any problems with modern ammunition or American ammunition with ignition. The gun is an M9A1 frame, so it's got the Picatinny rail, so you can attach a light or a laser. One of the really key things that this gun did over some of the other Berettas I've owned is they eliminated the teardrop right here in front of the magazine release, so you don't get the old like rider's callus from that. And they also bevel the underside of the trigger guard, and by doing that it really makes the gun comfortable if you're shooting for like an extended range session. I carry a traditional double action gun for two reasons. One, the hammer fired guns tend to be a little more accurate out of the box than most striker fired guns. There is quite a few exceptions to that now, but when I got into the shooting sports, the striker fired guns just never were quite as accurate as the hammer-fired double-action guns and the all-steel frame guns. But I carry in an appendix rig, and I use a keeper's concealment keeper. And one of the great things about having a hammer on the back of your gun is when you go to reholster your gun, you can control that firing mechanism as you're reholstering, so you can really mitigate the danger when you're reholstering, and it just seems to be a lot safer method. Then I carry a mag pouch, and I'm carrying, these are Mekgar 18 round mags, and I carry one in the gun and one on the hip. So that's kind of my short and sweet version of the Elite LTT. And this one is number 50. It's really special to me because it was a very early production gun, and I got it about a week after the guns were released, and after the press release, and they started shipping. So Ernest did me a real solid on that and got me a gun really quick. So